everyone. Today we are going to learn a very important class 10 topic, which is ionic bonding. So before learning about ionic bond, first we should learn about chemical bonding. So a chemical bonding is a lasting attraction between atoms, ions or molecules that enables the formation of chemical compound. There are three types of chemical bonding. The first one is ionic bond, the second is covalent bond, third one is polar covalent bond. In this video, out of these three, we are going to learn the first one, which is ionic bond. Now let us start with what ionic bond is. So the electrostatic bond between two ions formed through the transfer of one or more electrons is known as ionic bond. Before getting deep into ionic bond, let us recapitulate what we have learned in class 9th, that is structure of atom, that we are following today. So Niels Bohr in 1913 found how an atom is likely to look like. The atom is made up of three things: neutrons, protons and electrons. Neutrons doesn't have any charge. Electrons are negatively charged and protons are positively charged. In the center of the atom is the nucleus, which contains neutrons and protons. The whole mass of the atom is concentrated in the nucleus. Therefore, it is the heaviest part of the atom. Nucleus is positively charged because of the presence of protons. Electrons revolve around the nucleus in a circular path called orbit, shell or energy level. The number of electrons and number of protons in an atom are equal. Therefore, the atom as a whole is neutral. There are four shells: K, L, M and N. So the number of electrons any shell can accommodate is represented by 2n square. So in the first shell, which is K shell, N is equals to 1. Therefore, the number of electrons it can accommodate is 2 into 1 square, which is 2. Similarly, in L, it can accommodate 8, in M, it can 18, and in N, it can accommodate 32. But we are learning elements of the periodic table only till the atomic number 20. So, we will learn that for the configuration, we will just have 2, 8, 8 and 18. Now let us come back to ionic bond. In the bonding, every element wants to behave like a noble or inert element. That is, they want a completely filled valence shell. To understand this ionic bonding, let us take an example of sodium chloride, that is NaCl. The atomic number of sodium is 11 and its electronic configuration is 2, 8 and 1. Sodium atom has one electron in its outermost shell. If it loses one electron from its M shell, its L shell will be the outermost shell and then it will have a stable octet. The nucleus of this atom still has 11 protons, but now the number of electrons now will become 10. So, there is a net positive charge giving us a sodium cation or Na+. On the other hand, chlorine, atomic number of chlorine is 17. So, its electronic configuration would be 2, 8 and 7. So, the sodium has 7 electrons in its outermost shell and it requires one more electron to complete its octet. So, if Na and Cl were to react, the electron lost by Na could be taken up by Cl. After gaining an electron, Cl atom gets a unit negative charge because its number of protons are 17 and there are 18 electrons in its K, L and M shells. This gives us chlorine anion or Cl-. Hence, both these elements can have a give and take relationship between them. Now let us see the electron dot structure. The atomic number of sodium is 11 and its configuration would be 2, 8 and 1. And the atomic number of chlorine is 17. Its configuration would be 2, 8 and 7. So we'll make just the last shell. So Na, its last shell would contain 1 electron. So 1 electron, and chlorine's last shell contains 7 electrons. So Na will give 1 electron to chlorine. So it will to become a noble element. So it will form Na plus and chlorine minus. So the the sodium and chlorine ions, being oppositely charged, attract each other and are held by a strong electrostatic force of attraction to exist as NaCl. Let us take another example of MgCl2, which is magnesium chloride. So the atomic number of magnesium is 12. Hence, its configuration would be 2, 8 and 2. And the atomic number of chlorine is 70. So its configuration would be 2, 8, 7. So the magnesium has to give 2 electrons to have a stable octet, and chlorine has to gain 1 electron to have a stable octet. So magnesium has to give 2 and chlorine has to gain 1. So we'll take 2 atoms of chlorine. So its dot configuration would be hence Mg will give its first electron to first Cl and the second one to the another Cl. So it will form Mg 2 plus and chlorine minus. Now let us start with the properties of ionic compounds. First of all, its physical nature. Ionic compounds are generally hard and solid due to the strong force of attraction between the negative and positive charged ions. They are generally brittle because and if the pressure is applied, they can be broken down into pieces. Now, melting and boiling point. They have generally high melting and boiling point because a considerable amount of energy is required for its formation. Now, solubility. So their electrovalent force compounds are generally soluble in water and insoluble in the solvents like kerosene, petrol, etc. Now the last thing is conduction of electricity. Electrovalent compounds conduct electricity in its molten state, as in molten state the ions can easily move and conduct electricity, but it is the insulator of electricity in its solid form, because the movement of ions cannot take place due to its rigidity.